Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचर ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से.
20 overs done in the final in a game that you sense was played like a final, which ebbed and flowed and saw Virat Kohli finally get a high score in this tournament. We find out what the pace of that innings meant, how Shivam, Dube's Axar and Axar Patel's cameos might come in, and South Africa's overall bowling and outstanding fielding. 176 is where the game stands in the final. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo TimeOut, powered by Dish TV Watcher. We'll hear shortly from Monomokel and Andy Flower. First up, Sanjay Manjrekar. Who's happier at halftime?
Very even game, and just to get a full understanding of the surface, I want to see South Africa bat, and then we'll look at this innings in proper perspective, as in comparison with how South Africa bat on the pitch. We'll get a good idea about the surface, because India's batting was about nerves in the first 7 overs because of the loss of Rohit Sharma and Pant.
And
you had one batter playing almost half the innings, Virat Kohli, 59 balls, and he struck at 128. So effectively, half of India's innings went at 128 strike rate, and the rest at a much higher strike rate. Whether that is going to cost India, we'll find out.
Monomokel, would you be pleased if you're in the South African camp?
For 175, and they're chasing.
Sorry, Moni, could you start that again? Can't quite hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we can.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So yeah, at the start, I asked for 175. South Africa chasing 176. Again, you know, I'm going to agree. It's quite a hard wicket to read at the moment. Look at the start, that the wicket, or almost like the wicket was a bit slow and stopping, or just turning a bit. South Africa, you know, got the early wickets, but towards the back end, it just looked like it was playing slightly better. So is that a surface where we normally think at the back end, when the ball will grip and sort of hold in the wicket and it'll be tough? Is it a wicket where as soon as the ball gets a little bit older, it gets better? But I just felt South Africa at times were guilty of missing their lengths and just doing that basics, you know, in a final that you need very, very well.
Moni, are you sure the pitch was starting to play better towards the end, or is that the emotion that you confessed at the start that are prevailing in this contest?
Well, I just listened quickly to Keshav, Maharaj, just summing up their bowling innings, and he felt that the wicket got a little bit better towards the end. You know, but like we say, we need to see now South Africa coming out to bat, how it's going to play. But yeah, I think, you know, India did really well there in terms of when they were under pressure, to absorb that pressure and to form the partnership, and then from there to transfer the pressure back onto South Africa. So typical final cricket, exciting. Hopefully South Africa can chase it down.
Andy Flower, weigh in, would you? How do you feel in both dugouts at this point?
Well, I'd see it slightly differently. I think India have done quite well there. I reckon the ball's holding just a little for the spinners, and they've got 3 excellent spinners, really, really top-class spinners in this format of the game. And that's 12 overs worth of the ball holding just a little. So I think they're slightly ahead of the game. I think it looked better towards the end of the innings because the quicks came back on, and the quicks got hit. And that track, it hasn't got a blade of grass on it. There's nothing there for the quicks. It hasn't got the up and down that we've seen on a lot of the pitches during this tournament. So the quicks have to operate. It's not easy for them. They have to operate with high skill. And certainly in Bumrah, they've got another 4 overs of extremely high skill and brilliant slower balls as well. So I think they're slightly ahead of the game, and it's going to be a really tough chase for South Africa.
You would sense that they had to assess how they want to play at different phases. Rohit, Pant and Surya were part of the template we saw. They went quickly. India haven't been put in that situation as such this tournament. Do you sense at some point the messaging came in that let's get 165, 170 given how good a couple of our bowlers are?
Long-term plans is something that I find very tricky. Start deciding very early that let's not aim for 210, 220. What if the pitch gets better? And in the endeavor to sort of play out a few overs. Like there was Virat Kohli, who was batting against Markram in the first 6 overs with just 2 fielders out. He couldn't take a risk at that stage, but I think in some ways an opportunity is lost. So I'm still not sure about anything in this game so far until I see the other half, because India's batting, as Andy also said, and Morne, was afflicted by the fact that they were really shaken at the top with the loss of those 3 wickets. So whether emotions prevailed in the way they batted or the pitch is really tricky.
Okay, I'm going to come to Morne in a second. But Andy, since we're talking Kohli, just how this innings goes, we could reflect on his, or how the chase goes, we'd end up reflecting on the Kohli innings so much more. He's got off to a flyer, 14 of 5. He's then gone at 36 of 43 to get a 48 ball 50, and you sense what's happening when Axar and Dube are going big guns at the other end. But he finishes with a flourish 26 of 11. Put yourself in the shoes of the management right now and try and deduce what the messaging would have been, because when he went after Rabada, it's not like there's anything different. He chose not to take play as many aggressive shots in that middle period.
But I think what we've got to remember is the spinners were operating for long periods of time in that middle period, and I think it was harder to hit the spin. There's a strong breeze blowing at that ground, and I think that was at a really tricky time. I think from 34 for 3 in the middle of the 5th over, I thought they recovered brilliantly, and what Virat did have happening for him and for India was Axar Patel playing so well. So I think that dovetailing effect that you need when you're building a partnership, sometimes when someone isn't accessing the boundaries, as Virat wasn't, Axar was, and he took the pressure off that partnership in a really vital way for India. And Dube came in and did a reasonable little job as well.
If I could just add the numbers. Sorry, Andy. We've got a quick turnaround here, but if I'll just add the numbers for your knowledge: 4 aggressive shots in his first 5 balls for 14. For Kohli, 3 out of 10 for 6 runs, so he wasn't quite getting the returns either. And 7 aggressive shots of 30 balls for 8 runs between overs 5 and 16.
See, this thing about keeping wickets in hand, I think made sense because India lost some key players just for a little while. But it's a very, very dangerous road to go down because you're worried about whether we'll have wickets in hand. What has happened in the end is that Hardik Pandya, one of the most dangerous player, has just got 2 balls to face. So was that too much protection of the batting lineup? And the reason why India have depth in their batting lineup is at any stage, barring maybe the first 6 overs, no batter has to think about trying to keep wickets in hand. That is the template that India was embracing. In the finals, they seem to have gone slightly away from it because Hardik Pandya not being used as a batter with the current form that he has is a travesty in many ways. So all this, can be looked at as eventually India did the right thing. If South Africa fall well short and find the pitch really difficult to get the runs, if they get the runs quite easily like England did in the semis, then you'll start looking at one half of the innings where a batter played 59 balls, whether that was an innings that made a difference or it just made India's cause that much more difficult.
What a big 20 overs we therefore have upon us. Morne Morkel, very quickly, your thoughts on how South Africa need to approach this?
Well, India will know what is now key on the surface in terms of bowling and what lengths to hit. So partnerships for South Africa at the top is going to be crucial. Connie de Kock, experienced player to lead the charge.
Okay, Andy, key phase and prediction.
Yeah, Quinton is important. He's going to be the real aggressor up front, I would imagine. If they can keep him from playing his favoured crossbat shots, that should create some pressure. And then the three spinners, the bowling, Axar in power play, and then the other 2 spinners in those middle overs. That's going to be key for me.
Sanjay.
South Africa's batting has been not been convincing. India's bowling has quality, so maybe if Arshdeep and Hardik as well have a great day with the ball, those runs will be hard to score because now India are attacking the weakness of South Africa. Key player for me, Quinton de Kock.
What a finale we have. Fitting in Barbados. Thank you to Sanjay, Morne and Andy. More from them. once the World Cup has come to an end? Who will it be, India again or South Africa at last? We find out on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo TimeOut, powered by Dish TV. Watcher, do download the mobile app. If you haven't already, have you covered with the final 20 overs and so much more from this World Cup. We'll see you at the end of the game.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से।